My Promise to God by Crystal Moss. Welcome, everyone, and thanks in advance for tuning in, especially if the title guided you here. My name is Crystal, but I go by K Fields to be exact. Sorry, I look a hot mess right now, but we're doing this. I am 37 years old, and I have a son who is 16. I have one first son named Bone Crusher and one grandpup named Sabo. We'll have to get in the story of the dogs later. My family is tiny but mighty, and mhm. My son is my future king. Um, yes, he's a good kid. I'm very thankful for him. So I'm gonna go back 4 years ago. I lost my older little brother to drug overdose. He had struggled with drug addiction for a very long time since he was 32, 33 when he passed. And then he was like maybe 13 or 14 when he started doing drugs, if it wasn't younger than that. So, yeah. Um, we grew up in Helen, Georgia. If you don't know where that is, Google it. Google it. Um, you can already guess. If you haven't heard of it, there was a limited amount of people who looked like us. We related to everyone who was black, either on my mom's side or my dad's side. So we were two families joined. We kind of joined two families, no less. Are you taking a shower? I hope you're taking a shower. Don't say nothing else. Thank you. Um, we were related to everyone who was black, like I said. So as an adult, I know that it is very important to have good role models who look like you. My father struggled with with alcohol addiction and drug addiction as well, and living in Helen didn't help. Google it. It's fun to visit, but the people who live there, not everybody struggles with it, but you have to be strong-willed to live there. Um, because it's a resort area, and yeah, people go there for vacation. So people go there to drink and to let themselves go. But when you live there, you shouldn't be living like that every day. Okay. My mom was also lost in her own addiction. Or she became that way after they divorced. Whether I don't really recall her being too much of a drug addict, but I'm not really sure. Um, to take it back a little bit further for just a second to tell y'all a little bit more about me and my brother's life. I was gonna go to this one story. I came home one day when we lived in Helen. No one was home. That's okay. Latchkey kids represent. I was probably a dying breed of latchkey kids. Like I said, I'm 37, but we was latchkey kids. Okay. We probably the last era really. Um, so it was okay. I knew what to do. I made myself a snack. I found something on TV to watch. I don't remember what I was watching. I don't remember what. I could have been in my room. I don't remember because everything after the knock on the door, changed everything. So somebody started knocking on the door like heavy, and I'm like, who the heck's knocking on the door? And I didn't say who is it or nothing, but the TV was on. And me as an adult realizes that they probably heard the TV. But anyway, so I went to the door and it was the police. And I knew one of the police officers because the police in Helen would always take us like to the Blairsville State Fair, and they would just do stuff with us. They would take us tubing down the river. It's like Donna Sims, she was in charge of it. She's head detective now in White County, or she was when I left a few years ago. But she was the best. That was of Cleveland, but when we lived in Helen, she was the best. Like she always kept us busy, like they always had little extra funds and stuff, so they come get us little project kids, and we lived in our own like city, I guess. And they would take us over the mountain to the Georgia Mountain State Fair, and they'd give us a little stipend, I guess, and let us just, we would have fun. We did that for like 4 or 5 summers in a row. It was awesome living in Helen, and just to get us out of Helen. I'm so thankful that they did that. But yeah, so I knew one of the ladies at the door. So she knocked on the door, and at first I didn't open it because I'm not supposed to open the door. You're not latchkey kid. You're not supposed to open up the door. And I didn't open the door, so I like kind of backed away from the door, and I'm like not knowing what to do because it's like I knew the cops, so it's like, well, I don't have, I was oblivious to whatever was going on, but I knew Donna, and then I go back to the door and I see that somebody had their door at the door, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like, well, mom ain't gonna want nobody shooting the door open, so I open the door and I let them like, hey, and they're like, oh hey, and it's like, Crystal, is your daddy here? I'm like, no ma'am, no ma'am, and she's like, well, back up, let me see if he's here, and she came in and they one person went and did a sweep and they were talking to me and stuff and they're like, you don't know where your daddy is? I'm like, no, he's not home. And when I just got off the bus, I think they probably knew that, seeing the bus come through Helen and stuff. I couldn't even tell you what time of year it was. I don't know. And I know like it was sun shining and stuff, but like whether it was fall or anything like that, I don't remember. um so they leave and then they come back and it's like, hey, you need to come with us, we got your dad coming into town and we got your mom earlier. But they didn't tell me they got my mom before then. They didn't tell me that, but it wouldn't have mattered anyways because I don't think we had a house phone, so it just wouldn't have mattered. And so I go with them, and after that, honestly, my life is kind of a blur. I do remember bits and pieces of things, and I remember. Sorry, I need to find where I'm at because I'll get lost and I'll talk too much. So yeah, they said that my mom and dad had been arrested. Short story long. My mom and dad were arrested for selling drugs. Since we lived in Helen, Googled it. It was a small town, and right now it's like the Helen Art Center or something, but it was the police department. So when we lived there, we lived within 1,000. So my mom and dad, not only did they get in trouble for selling drugs, they got deeper into shit because they were selling drugs within 1,000 feet of government housing, or within government housing and within a government building. So that's just charges on charges my mom and dad got. I remember a little bit about court. My brother wanted to testify for my mom. I think he did. I don't really remember. And he just was like, my mom did what she could to take care of us. She did what she had to do, and as an adult, it's like, oh God, but that was his perception of what my mom was doing. Just trying to survive. And because my mom and dad were actually divorced at the time, so it was like I really hope you really took a shower. They teenagers. They were like going through this whole thing where they're trying to prove that she's a good mom or whatever, but she ended up taking all of the charges, and my dad she said it was all her because they were divorced, but she just, in her head to her, because I even remember that was killing her. It pissed her off so bad because she was like, I took all those charges thinking he was going to take care of y'all. Because I think she was in jail. She went to jail for like maybe 2 or 3 years, and in that time, my dad wasn't around us. I don't know what happened between him and Corey, honestly. Like, the really more I think about it, he must have had like a conversation with him and put him in this deeper mindset where he had to take care of himself and had to survive. Because my dad was like an alcoholic, and he ended up taking me to my first stepmom's house, who was really his sugar baby. Another story for a different day, but now I call her my stepmom, of course, because she took me in and she treated me like I was her own kid, and she was married to somebody else and had her own family, and my dad just pawned me off on her. And it's sad because imagine, or you don't know, but my dad has 8 brothers and sisters, and we had stayed with one of his brothers, but he had nobody where he could just do like he did that with them. I'm telling you, I don't know where my brother went at this time. I have no idea where he was at. I think he probably went back and forth between staying on the creek like some of my other cousins, because even though my dad had 8 brothers and sisters, a lot of my uncles and aunts were lost in their own addiction, and like my grandmother's house was like a safe haven for all of us. But there were so many kids up there. I think that's how I ended up where I ended with Jackie. Um, so yeah, I remember him saying that she did what she had to do for us. It didn't take a week, and she went to prison, and my dad just, he pawned us off on whoever. He was still drinking and trying to find a woman, and yeah. Anyways, so I'll jump forward, but then still backward. Come back to now, but jump 5 years ago. Right before COVID, my brother, my older little brother, was really strung out on drugs. I would call him a highologist, but the reality is, I call him a highologist. One, I don't know why I shouldn't have gave it a scientific name like he was fucking cool, but my family's weird. We would always joke about stuff, and he yeah, he would do anything. He was really just a drug addict. Like, cause I'm telling you, I was 11 when they went to jail. From that time, imagine if I was pawned on them. My brother was literally on his own, like from 13 to like just growing up, he was on his own. And if my dad wasn't doing anything for me, he was doing a lot for himself, and he had that already perception to where he had to do whatever he had to do. So my brother would fuck over people a lot, and he wasn't really a very good person. But he did whatever he could. And sometimes he would give me money too at school. When we started high school together, he would give me money and stuff. But, anyways, we were supposed to go on a trip or something like that. Candace had invited me to a trip. And, sorry, Kiki had invited me to a trip. That's my brother's fiance, she liked to say. And baby mama. And she went, no disrespect, 'cause I know she loved my brother, but and sorry, we were supposed to go on a trip together, a family trip, and this is crazy because it would have been our last family trip, but honestly, I wasn't supposed to go. She throws it in my face like, "See, that would have been your last trip with him." No, I wasn't supposed to go because that was y'all's last trip with him. You know what I mean? But anyway, so she wanted me to go on the damn trip, and I ended up giving her the money, but Corey's like throwing it in my face like, "I got your money, I got your money." He was evil to me. Even as adults, he was evil to me because I don't know. I say now he did me like that so I could know how evil some people could be, but it just was like, I don't know. He was evil to me. So, I was so mad because I'm like, I won't even go on this damn trip. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to go. Just give me my money back. Like, I done gave her like $300 or $400 for the hotel room or whatever, and he just had my money and was just playing with me on my phone. I think I was about to call the police on his ass, but I had called her on her way to work and made her go get the money out of the bank. And I'm like, I want my money now. So to see, and it's sad because me and her would always get into so many arguments because he would be acting crazy to me and then acting her like, I don't know what's wrong with Crystal. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. No, he's crazy and he's playing with me. Anyway, so I think after that, I was like, and some other situations had happened at their house. Like I would go to their house like during COVID, and the girls would be telling me he'd be doing stuff to them. And to add in, and I'm just gonna touch this briefly, but my brother molested me when I was a kid. So like before we moved, fucking out of Helen, like he was molesting me, and probably why we had to move. Anyways, I eventually would shake out of it and I started defending myself and pushing him off of me, but he was always a very grabby, feely person, trying to smack me on the ass, grab my titties and shit. He was very sexual. But come to find out, an older cousin had molested him as well when he was a younger kid. So in his head, that all this was right. So he just really had a fucked up perception because my mom and dad were leaving him with anyone. And so I was just really at my wit's end with him, and I was ready to kill him, to be honest, because I was tired of him. I'm tired of having to fight you, because it's like he's people on drugs, like physically having to fight him. Anybody got time for that? Like you got this crackhead strength, and I got my regular strength, and I don't even want to fight you. Like imagine pulling up to his house to check on my nieces and stuff, and let my son play, and look outside, and he's done taking my car. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, she ain't gonna call the police on me. You got like an hour. You know what I mean? Like, and then he still would just take advantage of it. Like piece of shit. He would treat me. He's in a better place. So, I finally called his bluff, and after years, I finally called his bluff because my mom had first put me on it, like, I'm calling your probation officer. So that was like jump to me to where I would always threaten him with his probation officer. But up until, COVID, I never actually had his officer's number. I would just always play with him, or I would just be fucking with him. Like, that's it. Fuck you. I'm calling your probation officer. You know what I mean? And, I finally actually talked to him and I just told him straight up, you keep letting my brother talk you out of stuff. Because I'm gonna touch this a little bit later, but I was born with the gift of gab. I don't meet a stranger. I can make friends anywhere. Um, I don't like it because it's a blessing and a curse for sure to feel everything so deeply and to have people always like you no matter what or hate you. You know what I'm saying? Like either I'll have somebody to be so in love with me and I'm thinking, you don't even know why you like me. You're just drawn to the light that's inside of me. Like back away from me. You know what I mean? Like give me some space. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not that pretty. That's why I be telling people I am not that pretty. I need like 10 feet. You know what I'm saying? Like I need some space. You're my personal space. And people, it sounds stuck up, but I really don't mean it that way. Because if you really knew me, I'm not like that, or I am like that. But I've had to become like that because of the light that's inside of me. I have to back people away from me. So, my brother had it too. We tried crazy people, and then he became the crazy people. But anyways, I told his probation officer, I'm like, you got to stop letting him talk you out of this. Oh, he's fine, And as he was listening to me, his probation officer, I think, ended up pulling up on Corey Street. And Corey wasn't at his house. He was down the road at his friend's house doing drugs. And the police officer pulled up, and I'm like, but he ended up talking his way out of that too. Like, oh, I got to take care of my kids. No, you're down the street. You're not with your kids. And I think that's when they ended up getting him. He went to jail. Yeah. But anyways, during COVID, they let all them MFs out. And my brother just got really bad strung out again. And then I ended up having to call his probation officer again. And, like, he goes for, or I think the first time he didn't do anything, he just wasn't listening to me. Like, oh, okay, she's telling me, not listen to her brother, but my brother's like, my sister is crazy. But then I think me and his probation officer had a thing. And I'm like, honestly, I regretted doing this because, and I'm glad I can admit this because I didn't even write this down on my paper, but I had told his probation officer, like, honestly, worry about his girls with him on drugs because when I was younger, he molested me for a very long time. So I'm very worried about him around his girls. And I say I beat myself up about it because honestly, I feel like they killed him, but he killed himself. But that's just another story for a different day. Because of what I said. I felt like that for a while. Like I shouldn't have told them that, but I was scared for my nieces. I really was. And because him on drugs, I don't think he can control himself mentally, and he's just such a sexual person. Like, I mean, even up until I was like 30, just a couple of years ago, when I'd be around him, if he came in my house and I'd have a bra on, it'd be like, put a bra on. Why don't you got a bra on? Your damn titties is everywhere. And I do got some double D's, but that's not the point. But he couldn't. He was a very sexual person. And yeah, I had called him and I had told Corey to count his days. He ended up going to rehab, and he was in rehab for like maybe 9 or 10 months, I guess, just like, yeah, okay, yeah. He was in rehab for like 9 or 10 months, and he got out in like November. And went to tell he went to get out of jail. And when he got out of jail, my mom brought him to see me, thank God, because I would have not seen my brother, because he wouldn't have been able to come on his own because Candace wasn't really letting him have her car that time because he had just really gotten strung out, like really bad. And he looked so good. And he was big as he's ever been. And he came to my house and he seen me and we talked a little bit. And I told him I had got our ancestry DNA, and I told him that we were mixed, and he was like, what? And freaking a quarter white or whatever, and that kind of freaked him out too. But anyways, just that whole first couple days him being out was hard for us because we were also finding out that my mom had cancer. I didn't technically find out till she had stage 4 cancer until like after my brother died, and I was like, did you tell him, And she's like, no, I didn't tell him, I didn't know. I'll never know because they were very close. And because he was her firstborn. It's like I am with my son. Except for I'm not giving him fucking drugs. But anyways, he was, remember I told him to count his days. He was out of jail for like maybe 11 or 12 days. And that morning, I think, as he probably took his last breath, I was talking about him to this lady, and I'm like, because I had heard he started getting back on drugs. That's when I started counting days, when I heard he got back on drugs. And I was like, he was only out of jail because he came and seen me, and then like wait, the next day he had got mom to take him to get drugs. and or he was driving because he's such a narcissist. So always has to be in control, has to be in charge. Calm down. Has to be the only one talking, leading the conversation, and everything. And he has to drive. Even when I would drive, even when me and him would ride, he couldn't drive with me. He had to be in control of the car. And he drove. He ended up driving her, and he got him some drugs. And she was so mad because she said, "I sat in the car. I didn't write this down." I remember it was coming to me, but she said that she said, "Crystal, I just wanted to smoke some weed, and my mom was losing her mind because she had stage 4 liver cancer. We later found out like a couple weeks later after he died, and we knew she had cancer, but we didn't know how severe it was. And she said, I just wanted to smoke some weed, but he was in there too long. And once he was in there, Crystal, I went and got. She went and she told the police this. She's like, I went in there and he was fucked up. And everybody's fucked up in the house. And she's like, Corey, he's only supposed to come get some weed. You know what I mean? But see, he couldn't smoke weed because him being on probation, he couldn't smoke weed. So when he got there and probably saw the weed, he went ahead and was like, oh, I want to do this. So what I can do will get out of my system quicker. We'll get to that later. Anyways, because I don't think weed is bad. I think it's all about moderation. Like alcohol, it should be controlled. But anyways, I had told him to count his days. So he ended up in rehab for less than a year. Then they, let him out because of COVID. They was letting everybody out, and he went through the couple days or whatever. And I think on the 11th or 12th day, I got a phone call that he killed himself. And on the way to Cleveland, and I was working third shift. It's crazy because I had taken melatonin and I was sitting there smoking me a blunt, and I got a phone call from Victor, my cousin, and he's like, Crystal. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, Corey's done killed himself. And I just sat up. And I'm like, have you told mom yet? And before I knew it, because my son was at school, before I knew it, or no, Titan was homeschooled then. Was Titan homeschooled then when Corey died? Yes, he was. And I'm like, Titan, do you want to go with me? He's like, I know. I was like, I have got to go to Granny. I had to tell my mom. I don't know why. It was something inside of me. I had to go. I had to go to her. I couldn't let anybody tell her. And as I pulled up and as I opened the door, and I was like, Mom. And she was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I need you to sit down. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Brianna. Hang up the phone. No, Brianna just wanted to tell me something. She just called, hang up the phone, Mom, And I'm like taking the phone from her. I'm like, Brianna, I'm here. I'll tell her. And it was Victor's girlfriend. Victor's my husband. That's his wife. And they're not married yet. He needs to marry her. Anyways, I tell her. I have her sit down and I tell her that he died. And she was like, what? And she was like, no, I need to go. I have to go. I have to go to him right now. I have to go to him. And as we go to Cleveland, everybody in the world is fucking calling us. And I'm like, stop answering the phone. Because one, I had taken the melatonin and I was just like, don't answer the phone. We're not talking to anybody. Fuck everybody, because he's done died, and we need to go see what's wrong with Corey, because this has just been going on, and no, they're just now calling us. And yeah, we go to Cleveland, and that's when we find out that he overdosed. And I watched them bring his body out, and I just wanted to hug him. No, I honestly wanted to beat him up. I was so mad. So mad. I was 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 so mad. So I go, and two of my other cousins were there, and they're like, it's okay, Crystal. And I think I took a video of him going in the thing, because I'm sorry that was the last picture of my brother. And I had to go home. I wanted to talk to the police. I wanted to go in the room where he died and see the blood flow and everything, because I'm weird like that, and I read a lot of murder mysteries and stuff. And honestly, I could have sworn that Candace killed him. I'm just gonna say it. I swore that she did. I know that this will probably get out, but I swore she did. I swore something happened. I still question it to this day what happened, but besides the point. Um, and if she would have, she probably would have had to. She probably would have been pushed to. Sadly, you know what I mean. Let me say that too, like in her defense. But anyways, it still ain't right. But anyways, so yeah, I had to pull myself together for everyone else involved because I've got 5 nieces and nephews, and I got my son to worry about, and I had my mom to worry about because as we, planned the funeral, his body had to get investigated and stuff, and just this whole thing because they wanted to know where the drugs came from, and but the reality is, to me, he probably knew what he was doing. Oh, he knew he didn't. It was laced with fentanyl. He didn't know. He probably did because he's a highologist. He prided himself in getting fucked up on things and his tolerance, and he just was a fucking drug addict. Excuse me, he was a drug addict though, but yeah, so I had to smile and be better for her because it was like dealing with Candace over the next year was very hard because she was going through grieving my brother's death, her love, her one true love, and the father of her kids. Um, uh, it was killing my mom, and she swore that mom killed her, but I told Kenneth straight up, I'm like, we're not talking about my mom until she's in the grave. We're not talking about this because she's dying. So let it. We can't do nothing now. You're gonna sit here. She's eating herself up enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I gonna do? Sit here and just make her feel bad for the way she treated us in our lives when she was really doing the best she could do under her circumstances. You know what I'm saying? So I smiled and nodded for a year because I couldn't let her die thinking that she killed her son. And she did. She did. But I couldn't let her think that she was a complete failure. So that's when I first was signing up for school and stuff. And at first, honestly, I wanted to get back into cosmetology because whenever I was in cosmetology in school, she would always be like, you should not do cosmetology. You are so heavy handed, blah, 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 blah. But after that point, I became her personal hairstylist. And then that's just another point for another day. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't do nobody else's hair but hers, okay? So, I got to the point where, but after she died, I was like, no, this isn't what I want to do. You know what I mean? Because, while she was on her deathbed and stuff, she was like, the one thing I regret not doing. And she's like, juicing. And I know, and I'm like, I know, because when she came to stay with me her last few months, because her house wasn't fit, I was trying to give her smoothies and shakes and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm trying to hook her up because I was like on them and stuff. But she was like, it is the one thing I regret doing. But like everybody was telling me when she got on hospice and stuff, it was just too late for all that. So I tried to make her better, but it was too late. She didn't want to be here anymore anyways. She didn't want to be a burden to me anymore. She said, she had said the only thing she regretted doing was not juicing. She had just said, I feel I fell, no, I smoked myself in a deep depression that year. I couldn't keep a job. I ended up getting evicted and homeless within a year and a half. It took for me to lose everything I had earned. I ended up homeless again because I had been homeless before because I don't get any help from my dad, my son's dad. I ended up homeless, me and my son. It took for me to lose everything I had. Worked so hard to get back, but I had to leave. That was the last place I had saw my brother and my mom well, and mentally it wasn't good for me. Because me and my mom would smoke weed together, and she would come in my room and like she'd stay the night with me because I had 3 bedrooms, so she was living with me, and she would always I had lived there for like 4 years, so she would always come stay the night with me and sleep in the third bedroom or whatever. But she would come in my room and sit on my bed, and I had the same bed, and it was just hard because I would see her, and or I would be sitting there smoking and I'm hallucinating, or not. I don't know what it really was, but she would be with me. But it was hard living like that because she wasn't with me anymore. So I needed to leave. And sorry, I just because I hated. I loved that apartment. I loved that apartment. I paid $800 in rent. Now I pay $1,400. Can't even afford it. Anyways, so we were in Family Promise for like 6 to 7 months before I found a place, and I was working. I had started school. I had ended up changing my degree to horticulture because I'm like, I think the one thing I would want to do with my life is have a garden. Because I always wanted a garden. I always wanted a big library in my house because I love books. I love to read, even though I don't read that much anymore, which I'm getting back into it. But a big garden and or a big library and a big garden, like a big greenhouse, So that's what I want to do in my life, Like you live for as long as I do. 35 years is when I started, and I was just like, I don't know. I just want to be a gardener. And even going into it, I knew it was a male-dominated field, and even, white, but in Hispanic. But I just, head first, this is what I want to do with my life. So we were in Family Promise for like 6 to 7 months before I could find a place, and I was working and going to school, and people who were supposed to be helping me hated me because I wouldn't do what they said or live my life the way they wanted me to because they knew what was best for me. Only you know what's best for you. Don't nobody else know what's best for you. Like only you know what's best for you. And I mean, in some situations, some people don't know what's best for them, but if you have the right perception and you pray things through, you know what's best for you. Anyways, watch out for people who try to control you and make you live your life for them. So while we're in the shelter, or near the end of our stay in the shelter, I just kept praying. Like, I'm just praying we'd find a place because I had a litter of dogs I was trying to sell, and I was like, we ain't gonna be here that long, Once I sell my dogs, we'll be okay. And I had kept my dogs at my stepdad's house, but just that whole situation up there, my female, she wasn't used to being outside, and it was a whole transition that was a waste of it being a transition because I ended up having to give her away because she harassed the neighbors by barking. She would get out. Winter dogs are master escape artists. Don't get me started. She would get out and they'd be barking and get back in. So I'd be having to go up there like middle of the night to go put her back in the kennel, or I was leaving work to have to go put her back in the kennel because she's breaking out. She wouldn't go any far because she'd get her puppies, but what she had ended up doing was she was breaking her puppies out. So it was like, I have to get rid of you because you're breaking your puppies out, and this is my money for one. You're getting your dogs loose, and your puppies ain't going to stay with you forever. And I had to get rid of her because the neighbor, may her soul rest in peace, or sorry, she's still alive, but she's an evil lady. First she was being my friend, but when I wouldn't move my dogs on her property, she started calling the police on us and stuff, knowing that I didn't actually stay there. I was keeping my dogs there. But anyways, like she went and got a lawyer and everything. Like she actually would come and watch me, but wouldn't actually speak to me. It was so fucked up. Like, what an evil lady. God's got something for her. Anyway, so because imagine sitting in the yard checking on your dogs, and she's like standing in the yard, or like turning, and she's just standing there pretending to water something. Oh, hey. I'd let her hold a puppy and everything, but all she did was call the police on me and try to get my dogs taken away, which is fucked up. Evil people. People think they know what's best for you. I wouldn't keep my dogs on her property, so she was mad. Anyways, and she said that they were harassing her, but they probably were, but I just didn't know her, and that's just my discernment told me not to trust her. I'm glad I didn't, because to me she would have taken my dogs anyways. So I thought I was gonna get the money through my dogs, and then I got my pill and I didn't, and then I just kept praying, and then finally I prayed to God, and I'm like, God, and me and God are tight because I'm Southern, so I was scared with God a long time ago. I'm scared of God. I am scared. Am I hard-headed though? Yes, but sometimes, but for the most part, I do what I'm told, or what I understand. And I just was like, Lord, all I want to do is keep working and going to school and find me and Titan a therapist and find us a home church and just get my life back together. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. That's it. So as I moved into my own, finally found my own place and things were working out, I ended up getting fired from my job that I was at because my manager was a pervert. I hate when men in power take advantage of people. Women in power do it too, I guess, but I guess just in my situation. He took advantage of the fact that I was homeless. I should have never told him, though. You have to really watch what you tell people because to me, that's what it was. But it's like as soon as he couldn't, I don't know. He's a pervert. Anyways, and may God get him too. Anyways, so he fired me, and then he just randomly fired me because I had told people. Because to me, I be warning people. I'm honest. I don't lie. Oh, hey Crystal, do you like him? No, he's a pervert. I'm just honest. I'm like borderline Tourette. I'm just honest because I'm not good at lying. He's a pervert because he was, and he never did anything, and he stayed in the office. I ran that kitchen, and I was cooking for all them people, and they loved my food. But he's evil. Anyways, he fired me, and I ended up having to take the quickest job I could get, which was at the Waffle House, because it's right before Christmas. My son's birthday is 3 days before Christmas, and we just moved into our apartment. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm just trying to get a job. So I took the quickest job that I could get. Months later, I had a kitchen job. Had called me. They were gonna pay me $19. I'm so mad about that I just didn't see it, but it's okay because things still happen in the way they're supposed to. So I ended up at the Waffle House, but I was working third shift, and honestly just got to where I was just sleeping during the day, working at night, doing my homework while I was at work. I just got comfortable. I ended up working there, because honestly, I'm just trying to get some place to sit down and be still. Like, I'm not trying to job hop. I'm not a job hopper. I want to buy a house. I want to buy land. I'm a horticulture student. I want to buy a farm. Like I want to be able to feed people healthy food. I can't afford it. Like I couldn't. But anyways, yeah. So I'm just trying to work and do what's right for me and my son. But I think a couple months ago, I just started praying. Like I am so sick of being on third shift. Like I am so sick of being on this shit. Like I am so sick of it. I ended up getting pulled over. My insurance had lapsed. It was rent or car insurance. This was like maybe in March or April. And I got pulled over on one of our Sundays. And I think my Sundays would consist of me going to sleep until like 3 or 4. And then I'd wake up and I'm like, well, let's do something. Because it was like my only day that Titan was off and I was off. So we would go to the family. We would go to the dog park and take our dogs and let them play, and then we'd run go get ice cream or go get some dinner, Sunday dinner, just trying to do something with him so he doesn't feel so alone. And which he never says he feels alone, but I always feel like he's alone. So got pulled over. I'm like, officer, my son's in the car. He's like, okay, but you don't have no insurance on your car. If you get insurance on your car, I won't tow it. And then as I got insurance on my car, he's like, but I'm going to have to write you a ticket. He did not have to write me a ticket. He didn't. He didn't have to write me a ticket. I mean, I'm sorry. That's my flesh talking. Lord knows if he wouldn't have wrote me a ticket, I wouldn't be here right now. But he wrote me a ticket, and Georgia State Patrol did not play. And I ended up getting a court date. Then they ended up moving it, right? So on August the 11th, as I'm going to work, because I had finally got some day shift hours, and I was on day shift for like 2 or 3 weeks at a different store, and this is probably why they let me go too, because they just didn't really know me. But I got pulled over for the broken tail light because my tail light was broke because it had broke like 3 times, and this was the 3rd time. And at this point, I was like, well, I'm gonna take it and see what's wrong with it. But I wanted to take it to a mechanic instead of Ace. But I should have took it to Ace because what was wrong with it was not even that serious. And I ended up taking it to, I get pulled over, and he's like running my shit, and then he's like, hey, can you step out the car for me, please? And I'm like, am I going to jail? Like, bitch, you going to jail. Excuse me. Girl, you going to jail. And I'm like, am I going to jail? And I end up going to look at sorry. I end up, yeah, getting pulled over, and I've gotten pulled over like 2 or 3 times, like a summer thing. I've gotten pulled over a couple times for this shit. So I'm like, what the hell? But he's like, you got a bench warrant. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you got a bench warrant. You have, you were supposed to be in court last week. I was like, what? I was like, I thought it was next week, I was like, I have it in my calendar. He's like, show me. And I'm like, well, it's in my calendar. He's like, you don't have a picture of the letter. I was like, if you drive me to my house, I will go get it for you. I will call out of work and not go, but he's like, no, I can't let you go nowhere. He's like, you got to go to jail. And he had a smile on his face. He's being so nice. And I'm like, I got to sit down. Because you think I'm going to run, but I'm not going to run. My heart is about to explode. Because if you take me to jail right now, I'm about to lose everything that I have. You know what I mean? Because as a single parent, if something like this happens, you literally, lose everything. Like you can lose everything. He let me park my car to the side, so I called my cousin and had her do that car. I only texted work, which is this is where I messed up. But you have to understand, I was in the process of being detained, and I was panicked and I was crying, and I'm trying to make sure my son's okay, and call my dad and call people because before they took my phone, and I had never been to jail before, so I should have got a pen and wrote numbers down on my arm, but I just wasn't thinking like that. I was in panic mode, so I just couldn't stop crying, and I did text work, but whatever. So while I was in there, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm about to be in here. And they was like, oh, you're not going to be here that long. Whenever you go to court, I'm like, but when is court? So it didn't happen the next day. And I'm sitting there trying to pray, trying to stay calm, and I'm having phone withdrawals. That's the biggest thing I was withdrawing from, my telephone in my hand. Okay. So phone, I was just dying. I was like, I don't have my phone. I can't call people. I can't check anything. I don't know what time it is. I can't listen to music because I listen to meditation stations, because that's what's really helped me with the voices and the thoughts in my head. Like I meditate, and I mean, some people do it by listening to music, but I do it by listening to like relaxing vibes and YouTube. Let go of things and relax and heal your inner child and stuff like that. I would listen to stuff like that. So, I couldn't do none of that. And they do have tablets in the jail, but they wasn't giving them to everybody, because my roommate said, she's like, I don't know, they're updating the system, so they're not giving them to people. So, the 3 days I was in there, it's 21 hours in, 3 hours out, which was hell for me, because I'm used to opening up a door and going out and, being where I'm supposed to be. And I go to, I think by like maybe this after the second day, my third time out there, I was more like on top of things. They showed me how to get into things, and I started emailing people, and I'm like, I can't pay y'all if I'm in jail. Simple things like that. I have to get home to my son. Period. Doctor, I'm gonna need my Ozempic Monday, or I'm going to go into withdrawals from my Ozempic and be really, y'all gonna have to rush me to the hospital. I'll fucking die in here. Excuse me, I'll die in here. Because when the Ozempic, if you're not taking care of yourself and if you're not keeping your calories up, and then the whole time I was in there too, my sugar was low. I wasn't eating enough. I didn't have no money for commissary, so I wasn't eating. That's probably another reason why they got me out too. But if you're not taking care of yourself on Ozempic, or if your sugar's too low, or if it gets too high, Ozempic helps you, and it's going to kick out everything that you thought you was going to eat this. Not on Ozempic. No, it's going to kick it out. And you're forced to eat cleaner on Ozempic, which is good for me because I eat clean anyways for the most part when I can afford it. But anyways, you can't control it in jail. So I'm in jail, and I'm just praying and trying to get things through. And on the third day, I woke up, and I haven't talked to my son. I couldn't call my cousin again because I was able to call my so-called friend, but she just wasn't really of use. She wasn't going to check in on my son like she was supposed to. And so I knew nothing of how my son was doing or anything. But on the third day, my bunkie had court, and then she ends up going and leaving for court or whatever. And then next thing I know, they come and get me. And I end up going to court, and I go before the judge, and I'm like, Your Honor, I didn't know. I was coming to see you today. It was in my phone for meeting you to see each other today. I wasn't ignoring you. I was coming. I even told the prosecutor I was coming to fight it. I was coming to fight it, or they would have played it down. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I still need to play it down because I can't afford that type of ticket. I'm a single parent and I'm in school. You know, I started school. And, I was like, I started school Monday. I started school. I had started school Monday, and all my homework is due Sunday, and it's Thursday. I'm like, I have homework due. I have to do my homework. My kid is by himself, you know, like I need to go home. You know, I can't. I'm no good to anybody at home. And me thinking I was gonna still have my job, whatever. So, anyways, they ended up. He ended up letting me out immediately. I didn't have to pay anything, thank God, and I ended up having to. I get home. I'm calling work. They're telling me they have to let me go because I called out no showed. I'm like, no, I didn't. I texted you because I didn't reply back for days because I didn't explain it, but they fired me, whatever. And yeah, just ever since then, I. But I knew when I was in jail. I'm sorry I didn't say this part that I didn't do. I didn't I didn't keep my promise to God to find a therapist for me and my son and to find a home church. So it was like, those are two things I know for a fact. That's what I've been, because I'm telling you, when I first got in jail, I was sitting there for like hours. I was like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? What did I do? You know, spiritually, what did I do wrong? You know, where was I wrong? Where was I wrong? Because it was a self-examination for sure my first day in there. And I'm like, I broke my promise. I broke my promise. I broke my promise. So now, as I sit here, jobless, about to get kicked out of my apartment again, I'm going to keep my promise to God. For one, me knowing God as much as I do, for me to, I, I took too long to heal. I was being selfish because God gave me the gift of gab, and I'm here to help people and here to prophesize and, you know, help people figure out right from wrong and, by God, change the world. you know, but since I've been out, after my 3 days in jail, I was able to, because I've been in jail before, like twice, but not to population and not like that. I was in the holding cell by myself. Now, I mean, which everybody has told me that you would rather be with everybody else, but I'd rather not be in jail at all. At all. At all. I'd rather not be in jail at all. So, yeah. But it was better in population. They were so nice to me. I made family in there, you know. I can see how it would have become family. You know, I don't want to go back. But I hate that they have to sit like that 21 hours in and not do anything. I guess it does give you time to think and stuff, but I don't think that's good. So after I do my community garden process, I'm going to be working on the jail, at least my local one. Like, I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in DeepSeek or ChatGTP or somewhere deep in the internet why they stopped, you know, letting prisoners and stuff have gardens and stuff, but they need a garden. I think it's there. I think it'd be therapeutic. I think it would be good. I think there's things that you can do that you don't really need something sharp at. The fact that they've made this little spoon thing that they have, I still have my spoon. The fact that they have things like this and stuff, they could make something where they could be pruning and doing stuff like that. But that's another story for you. That's my next project. My community garden project is my baby right now that I plan on doing at Family Promise. And that's what God was supposed to do. This is what He wanted me to do too. I've been going to Free Chapel, and I'm so thankful for Free Chapel. So thankful for Pastor Franklin and Pastor Drew. I'm in SOD class. Oh, so then, you know, me trying to find a home church, I'm like, Free Chapel's right there. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, whatever. It's Free Chapel. I'm gonna go. I had went a couple times and I liked it, you know, but understand, me being from a small town, I don't people a lot. I have a very discerned spirit too, so I attract weird people, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I do. Or I expect everybody. Everybody either likes me or they really hate me. And that's okay, of course, but when you're looking for a home church, you just want to find peace. You don't have time for all that. Like, or, I mean, trials and tribulations for everybody, but still. So, yeah, so I had signed up. I think the only class I had originally saw was Celebrate Freedom, which is their version of Celebrate Recovery, and I was going to go, but when I pulled up Celebrate Recovery, one, I was like, I really wanted to do discipleship class. And, because everybody says, don't wait till you're older to do disciple, to find God and stuff. And I mean, I already have God, but, I just don't, I've stayed too far away from Him. So I went to go to the Celebrate Recovery. And as I was there, I got out of the car and I was going in, and it was like there were people sitting in their cars and nobody said anything to me. Like, I felt like, and I was like, is it this door? I'm like talking, and they're like looking at each other before they talk to me and stuff. The vibe was off. And, when you're discerning spirit, you all go by vibe. And as I went to go in my car, I was like, well, I'll just go around the front. As I got in my car, I'm like, it was like, you're not supposed to be here. This isn't where I want you. You know what I mean? So I'm like going to the main church, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe, I can go to discipleship class, and as I walk in there, I see a familiar face, and I'm like, hey, I came for discipleship class, and they try to sign me up, and it said Celebrate Freedom. And I was like, well, I did sign up for it, but I had also signed up for a discipleship class too, because that's what I really wanted to do. Because honestly, too, it's no offense to anyone. Everybody goes through their own things, but growing up with a family full of addicts, it's like not the last place I want to be, but I have a different calling, and I feel like once I get done with my discipleship, I'll be in Celebrate Freedom and helping people and stuff too. But I need to finish my own journey right now. So it's like, and then I'm kind of an addict myself too, even though these days I'm prescribed THC, but that's not the point. And so it's not really, what I do isn't really illegal, but, and I don't do it anymore still, but yeah, it's prescribed, and I just had to take a break from it. This has been since I went to jail though, but, and I can't afford it, but I just feel like I'm still mentally need a break because it slows me down. But anyway, so yeah, so the lady takes me to this girl, and as she's sitting there, she's like, I know you. I'm like, no, I know you. And she's like, and I'm like, isn't your name, Shelby Carmen? And she's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, you don't know me? I was like, I'm not telling you who I am, because we was almost family twice. And she knows why. It was twice. But that's a different story for a different day too. But it was just still funny to me because, you know, once she gave me the biggest hug, because I know like it's been forever since we really saw each other, because we actually were in the same grade. We graduated together, and her sister dated my brother. And so that's why she was almost my family, and and she was almost my sister-in-law. But it was just funny to me, and she just gave me the biggest hug, and it was like, after being in jail, like my dad gave me a hug, but it's like my dad's so self-serving, but that's another thing. But it was like just the best hug somebody gave me, and I felt so welcome. So I'm just very thankful for that. But yeah, as I got into class, she's like, well, I'm gonna send you, the old classes and stuff so you can catch up. I'm like, all right, thank you, And because it honestly did go in and out of a depression for a couple weeks after I got out of jail, because it's like I got out of jail, I lost my job, now I have to find a different job, and like I said, I shine too brightly for some people. So it's like having to be looking for a job is, I have so much experience, so I'm immediately intimidating to most people. You know what I mean? Because like me growing up in Helen, just even before I left Helen, I have a lot of restaurant experience. So yeah, but um, just sitting in class with Pastor Drew has been so helpful to me and so rewarding, because one, he reminds me of Pastor Brian, because whenever Pastor Brian first started preaching, he's at St. John Baptist Church, just young and just full of just wanting to change the world like me. So I'm just very appreciative of him. We haven't really had a one-on-one conversation, but I'm just still very thankful for him, and thankful for being able to join Free Chapel, because it's been eye-opening too doing that. Like, I did need to come back to God. I stayed away from him for too long. I took too long to heal though. I didn't run on purpose. I took too long to heal, and then for a while I didn't want to people. Like sometimes I get my moods and I just don't want to people, because when you have a discerned spirit, you attract people, and everybody wants a healing, and everybody wants a victory, and everybody wants something from you. And sometimes you got to give it to yourself. But I'm thankful to be able to be a part of Free Chapel now, and I look forward to volunteering and helping. And I told myself a couple days ago that by this time next year, when I was volunteering last week, everybody will know me by name. That is my goal, for everyone to know me. Even at Good Samaritan, I'm like, I'm gonna be volunteering up there too. Like, they're going to know me, and they're gonna love to see me coming, just like people used to love to see my mom coming. Like, they're gonna love to see me coming, and they're gonna be like, Crystal's here to help. Yep. Go put her right. Crystal's here to help. Crystal's here to save the day, because that's all I want to do. Um, since I was younger, that's all I wanted to do. I originally wanted to be a dental hygienist because I just wanted to make the world smile. But now I want to teach people good eating habits and, you know, just make things better. So thank you for listening. I cannot believe I went for an hour, but I'm sure this will have to be edited.